Certainty Principle by David Light. Chapter 12, Big Brain Organ. Section 8, The Brain Jacking Defense. Quote, if you don't censor yourself, you end up with what you're most concerned about. If you don't censor yourself, you end up with what you're most concerned about. But you haven't filtered it through your conscious mind. Then you can craft it. That's David Byrne, the founder of the Talking Heads. Brainjacking is the brain's inclination for preempting my mandate-related work by censoring intuition with prejudices and random fixations. The brain habitually rationalizes everything. This is, if you study TM, Transcendental Meditation, it's a big issue that a lot of people have when they get into it, is the brain keeps assaulting them with stuff to keep it really from escaping, from getting free. And I know that sounds silly, but it's really true. Sometimes really demonic things to try to keep you from being set free to your more intuitive state. You just have to keep fighting until you get over it. The brain habitually rationalizes everything. Such chronic attention shifting causes my productivity to flounder. Remediation begins with establishing a defensive posture against the hijacking of my mandate. My warrior stance implies I am alert to the disposition of my brain, preventing it from hijacking my focus by intrusive and irrelevant thought. The metaphor is strong, that is, brainjacking, but strength is the secret for high fidelity mandate. Yeah, so you got to be strong to crush the demons that want to keep you from getting your stuff done. My brainjacking alert system pinches, punches, and otherwise provokes me physically to interrupt the brainjack once it begins. Yeah, so you got to fight back to stay focused. Even standing up and walking around the room or around the block will often restore focus on priorities. The solution is creating a personal alert system for signaling a loss of focus and then taking physical action to prevent it. Drunken state of uncertainty. The uncertainty state promoting brainjacking is characterized by the 3 F's: fatigue, fearfulness, and infirmity, any of which compromise my mental discipline, promoting a conditions-centric state of mind. So yeah, when I'm tired, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but if you get really tired, mentally tired, sometimes like songs start playing in your head, or miscellaneous thoughts start floating through. What it reminds me of is that scene from 2001 Space Odyssey where Dave is removing elements of CPU from Hal's processing unit, and he gets simpler and simpler and simpler. This is what seems to happen when I'm tired, or this is what seems to happen if I'm sick. I can't function at that higher focus level. I lose my focus. The result is akin to various degrees of drunkenness. At first a little goofy, followed by increasing levels of confusion, then surrendering to random, unmandated brain activity. This is why drugs and alcohol can be a problem. My brainjacking defense system requires me to establish personal routines that prevent the 3 F's from occurring. Creating a habit of deep sleep and periodic brain rest by working in intervals eliminates such fatigue. Aerobic exercise relaxes the musculature, reinfusing the brain and brawn with chemistry required for high performance proficiency and avoidance of illness. Since what I consume dictates the chemistry, processed foods and excess carbohydrates are out. These constraints also promote fearlessness, but the certainty principle is itself a remedy for fearful disposition. Yeah, well, the constraints you put around the food you eat and creating a lifestyle that some may call discipline, but is really refined somewhat, relieves you from a conditional type existence. Heart attack smacked. Establishing a brainjacking defense system, as with all disciplines, must be intimately subjective to be effective. It's got to be yours, not somebody else's. I can't affect changes in my operating system unless I am compelled by a heart attack caliber cause. Change always fails when driven by a vain imitation or a grass is always greener motivation. I want to be like him or her. Fact is, I change when I don't have any choice. Fact is, you change when you have no choice. Yeah. I will impose the discipline to become a great golfer once I conclude that golf is fundamental to my mandate. But that has to be a conscious, explicit decision. It can't be, oh yeah, I feel that way. It's not good enough. 12.9 Forest for the Trees. Habituation. Habituation equals my brain neglecting environmental factors that are constant. Thompson, 1966. In the same manner that a cat cannot see a mouse that is standing still, the brain ignores things that it perceives as constants. But because human cognitive complexity is far greater than the cat's, the implications are exponentially greater than one more mouse in the house. Optimizing bandwidth demands that the brain rapidly filter out anything it deems as familiar or uninteresting, fading it into the background. To the extent that my brain is trivially preoccupied, the domain of constancy expands to accommodate available processing, even to the point of absurdity. What's interesting here is like having had episodes of depression. Depression is habituation of everything. Everything fades to gray. Very interesting. Nothing becomes novel or unique. No mandate exists. Consider the phenomenon of losing my keys, which it turns out are lying conspicuously on the desk right in front of me, or misplacing my glasses, which are comfortably placed on top of my head. Worse yet is ignoring my wife when my brain selects to disregard what she's saying as mundane in favor of listening to my own vanity-driven thoughts, such as, my wife's comments are so mundane compared to my own pithy observations. Yeah, I've never done that. The advantages of habituation are obvious. They provide me with the capacity to laser focus on what my brain deems as the most important detail of the moment. Problems arise when my brain's choices of focus become distorted, habituating what is important instead of focusing on what is not. That's a depressive state. The implications are far-reaching and can even lead to disaster. While driving a familiar route in my car, my vain brain may choose to attend to an incoming text message for a micro I'm important dopamine rush, ignoring the obvious danger of such a distraction.